I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
Am I in a comedy sketch here?
I've got sour news for you, Jack. You're gonna die. I mean, we all are. That's not news. Let me start over. The human race will end. The question is how and when. No one really knows the answer to that question, but here's what I do know. It is going to end a lot sooner if we don't learn how to get off this rock. Now, some of you might think that I'm being a doomer, but really I'm being realistic. There are a myriad of things out there that could destroy all of humanity in the blink of an eye. A solar flare from the sun could wipe out all our electronics and send humanity into a self-destructive bout of chaos. Nuclear war could erupt and result in the explosive end of millions of people and plunge us into an everlasting winter. A pandemic could spread that actually has a really low survival rate this time. A huge asteroid could hit us, resulting in fires and floods and blocking out the sun with soot and debris. We wouldn't be able to see the sun and grow crops, resulting in the starvation of millions of people. A supervolcano could erupt, pretty much having the exact same effect. And then that could happen at any moment. A blight could develop on the soil, making it impossible to farm food and feed the animals that we eat too. A gamma ray burst from a star a long way off could strip away our atmosphere and expose us to the radiation of space.
You shut up! I'm so fucking scared right now, you shut up!
By the way, did you know that mass insanity is a way that experts say that the world could end? I saw that and I was like, yeah, that tracks.
You really are crazy.
I'm hungry.
The point is that every day a coin flips, and we have been ever so lucky that it has landed in our favor every time. But one day, it won't. We live in an inhospitable, unstable, very hostile universe, and we haven't even thought of all the ways that we could die yet. I mean, stability is so normal for our species that we don't know how lucky we are. Which is why every time that I see a billionaire launch a rocket into space, I feel relief. But boy howdy, not everyone seems to agree with that.
Go yourself.
I am so over the anger being thrown at billionaire rocketeers, and I notice a lot of this anger is directly coming at Elon Musk, the man who is literally driving humanity into the stars right now. This man caught a rocket out of thin air with metal pincers, like Karate Kid.
Hey, Mr. Miyagi, look! Look!
Now this should be something celebrated across the board. Elon Musk just brought us a little bit closer to being a spacefaring species. Everyone should be excited to no end. However, I don't know if it's small-time thinking or the need to virtue signal or just plain stupidity, but there are a lot of people out there who just feel the need to crap all over these achievements. Hey, my eyes are down here. Oh, were you looking at my hat? Do you like it? Well, I got good news for you. You can get your own at SydneyWatson.com right now. I got mine just a few days ago, and I love it so much that I agreed to help Sydney sell them.
You're going to help me sell my merch.
Oh yeah? And why's that?
Because I know where you live.
So head on over to SydneyWatson.com, link in the description, and you can get your own Hell Gondola guy on a hat, a shirt, or even a hoodie. Also, you look like you could use an ugly Christmas sweater. Do you love eggnog but hate communism? Well, she's got a sweater for you there too. All this and more at SydneyWatson.com, link in the description. Go and buy your merch today, and save my life, please. Where was I? Anti-Elon weirdos. You've got people accusing Elon Musk of just trying to make an extra buck by launching rockets into space, and that he should be using that money to solve world hunger. And then you've got governments like the kind in California that are trying to shut Elon down because, I mean, if we're being honest, they just don't like his politics. And you don't have to take my word for it. Here's the California Coastal Commission attacking Elon Musk, not about his environmental impact, but what he believes politically.
This company is owned by the richest person in the world with direct control over what could be the most extensive global communication system on the planet. Just last week, that person was speaking about political retribution on a national stage. But yet he was standing next to a candidate that openly promotes and is working to normalize that language. And we have to push back against that.
Right now, Elon Musk is hopping about the country, spewing and tweeting political falsehoods and attacking FEMA while claiming his desire to help the hurricane victims.
But here we're dealing with a company that is the head of which has aggressively injected himself into the presidential race and made it clear what his point of view is.
Well, that was a load of shit.
I can say with a lot of confidence that much of the anti-Elon nonsense you see online nowadays is based in ideological bullshit and not one iota of care for the human race. Because if they actually did care, then they would be exploding with joy with every success SpaceX has. I mean, just look at what becoming a spacefaring species could solve for us. One of the first things you always hear when it comes to these billionaire rocketeers is that they should be spending money on solving world hunger instead of launching rockets into space. And I mean, look, if you can find a way to get those billions of dollars to the people who need it before it's sucked up by corrupt politicians and government red tape, then I'm all ears, man.
So where there is hunger, it is almost always due to civil war or strife. Extremely rare for it to be just a matter of lack of money. It's like there's a civil war in some country and like one part of the country is literally trying to starve the other part of the country.
So it's much more complex than something that money could solve. It's geopolitics.
Food is extremely cheap.
But think bigger. Right now, we're relegated to patches of land on this planet where we can grow food. Imagine the agricultural advancements that we could make by learning how to farm in environments like Mars and the Moon, and eventually space stations. The amount of knowledge that we would gain by learning how to farm in these environments would create food engineering miracles that would blow your mind. I'm talking about a real biotech advancement here. Are you worried about dwindling resources? There are resources galore out there. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter is effectively a treasure trove of everything. You want nickel, iron, cobalt, and platinum? It's there. You want to find more rare earth minerals that we use for our advanced tech? Crack open an asteroid. There's more than you could ever want in there. You've probably been hearing about an impending water crisis? Well, grab a straw, because a whole bunch of it is just sitting in asteroids waiting to be got. If you're an environmentalist, then you should be salivating over the idea of asteroid mining because it stops humanity from tearing up the Earth and tearing apart the myriad of just giant rocks floating in space. What about energy? There's talk of an energy crisis. Now, here on Earth, solar power can be kind of iffy, but space-based solar power is insane. There's no day-night cycle or weather that could obscure the sun. It's just round-the-clock energy collection. And how do we get that power to Earth?
Sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads.
While this might sound like science fiction, it's actually being worked on right now by a UK company called Space Solar, which will collect the solar energy in space and beam it down to Earth. What's also great is that it takes up a fraction of the land solar farms do. This entire thing utilizes reusable rockets, which, wouldn't you know, that's what Elon Musk is developing. Are you worried about overpopulation? You shouldn't be. But just in case you are, what better way to deal with the problem than to send some of the population off-world? I mean, the environmental benefits to Earth would be unbelievable. So if you are a climate doomer, then you should be ecstatic about all the advancements these billionaires are making when they're going to space. But right now, what they're worried about is Elon Musk hurting whale ears. I wish that was a joke.
They were like, well, you have to do the study on whether you're going to hit a shark. We're like, what? And then we said, okay, fine, we'll do the analysis. And so eventually, I think we got the data and we could run the analysis to say like, yeah, the sharks are going to be fine. But they wouldn't let us proceed with launch until we did this crazy shark data. And then we thought, okay, now we're done. And they said, but what about whales? I'm like. And honestly, if the ship did hit a whale, it's like, honestly, that whale had it coming, because it's like the odds are so low. It's like Final Destination, the whale edition. It's like fate had it in for that whale, It goes on. And then there's like, well, what if the rocket goes underwater, then explodes, and then the whales have hearing damage? Like, this is real.
But if you're thinking that these are just investments we're making today that will only pay off in the distant future, I've got great news for you. Let's talk about all the spin-off technologies that came about because we tied rockets to our ass and launched ourselves into space. Modern water purification systems were actually developed for space travel, and now they can provide clean water to areas that lack it. Food preservation tech like freeze drying was developed by NASA in order to keep food fresh, so in space, astronauts had something to eat. Well, now, corporations use that same tech in order to preserve food to get it to places that need it. Are you using a mouse right now? Jet Propulsion Lab, baby. Ever heard of aerogel or frozen smoke? You can actually find it nowadays in many building materials, including inside your windows, and it even helps preserve the food in your fridge. This was also something that was developed by NASA in order to find a lightweight way to insulate the astronauts from the hazards of space. Do you like LED lights? Of course you do. You use them every day. LED lights are also a NASA creation that have a lot of benefits to them, including longevity and energy efficiency. Hey, editing Brandon here. Just so the nerds don't get mad at me, NASA did not create LED lights, but they did do a lot to help advance and refine them. All right, back to the video. Which is perfect for a space mission, and also your television. Do you like watching cringe TikToks like I do? Well, you can thank the JPL for the creation of the mini camera, which you can now find in your phone. By the way, you'll notice a lot of stuff meant for space is supposed to be lightweight, which, like, come on. In 2024? Cancel space scientists, am I right? Those fat-phobic Wow! You know those satellites we learned to launch into space? Well, now they are a part of the GPS system in your car and phone. Have you ever used Invisalign? NASA! Actually, polycrystalline alumina, which is what you find in Invisalign, was originally developed to help heat-seeking missiles find their targets. So, you actually have missile technology helping you look less British. I could go on, but I think you get the point. The experience that we get from space travel doesn't just benefit us in the future, it actually helps us a lot right now. And judging by what we've learned in the recent past, just think of all the technological advancements and resources that are just waiting for us out there in the black. This is just the beginning. Think of all the scientific and technological advancements we could make by traveling out there right now. It's just a no-brainer to go. I mean, none of the cool sci-fi stuff that we think about, like Dyson spheres or wormholes, are going to be discovered by staying here in the dirt. All this to say that a lot of the people who are getting mad at billionaires for not solving the world's problems that we have right now are so far off the mark. They really are solving today's problems by focusing on tomorrow's tech. The really cool thing about humanity is that it thrives when it tries to find a way to do difficult things. We're kind of like Saiyans in that regard, in that every time something kicks our ass, we come back stronger and a better fighter. Only in this case, the things that are kicking our ass are hostile environments.
Do you really believe your own hype that much?
I am the hype!
Extreme environment innovation gives rise to technologies that you couldn't even think of, and then produces spin-off technologies that have nothing to do with the original intent. And a lot of these technologies really do help people in need. The point is, the fastest way to help a lot of people all at once and to extend the survival of the human species is to journey out into the expanse. To sum it up, I wanted to read a post from the sci-fi author of Theft of Fire, Devin Erickson, and I'll link him in the description, who I thought defended Elon Musk's accomplishments with the heavy booster beautifully. This is history happening before you. If you are a puddlefish, if you think this is a wasteful showpiece or science project, then you don't understand physics, economics, astronomy, or in fact the basic layout of the universe you live in. We live in a tiny puddle at the bottom of a well. Out there is an entire universe full of not only stuff to explore, but full of stuff to build things out of. Big things, wonderful things, things that are going to make all of the cool stuff you have today, all of human civilization to date, look like it is Syrian writing stuff down on wet clay with a reed. Infinite resources, infinite energy, infinite space. Instead of fighting over little patches of land, we will have an infinite 3D volume. Enclose it in steel, pump it full of air, spin it, and it's a habitat. Instead of scratching tiny scraps of metal out of the crust of one planet, we will break down entire asteroids and smelt them. Instead of drilling for hydrocarbons and turning water wheels, we will harness entire suns, split the atom, and eventually draw our fuel from the substance that makes up 99% of the entire universe. None of your local temporal Earth politics matter compared to this. This is more important than pride parades and abortions, more important than tribal conflicts in Eastern Europe and Southwest Asia, more important than tensions with Russia and China, more important in the long run than the United States of America. America's most important function, its one most vital purpose, is to serve as an incubator for this. Because this changes everything. All of our arguments about conditions on this planet become obsolete because the whole planet becomes just one suburban neighborhood. All of our wars over resources and territory become obsolete because no one has time to brawl when we're all sitting on top of a dragon horde with sacks and shovels. Everyone who was alive at the time remembers where they were when Kennedy died in Dallas, when the towers fell, when the Eagle landed, when the wall came down. But this is the real moment. One of the first of many. They are what every child will know about 1,000 years from now, even if they have 4 arms and are genetically engineered for 0G, or a sentient block of code running on a sphere of computonium enclosed in an entire star. You may not live to see that, depending on what we do or don't invent and when, but it will happen, and you will live to see wonderful things. Hey, before you go, you should join my Discord. There's a phenomenal community in there, and we do all sorts of fun stuff, like have movie nights and arrange gaming sessions. It's been around for a little bit, and it's developed into a very fun, tight-knit community. So come join us right now. There is a link in the description. Okay? Later.